Hello and Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome to this conference and talking about climate solution and food systems. And let me start by speaking about the word system because it sounds innocent, but it has a lot of power. We are in the midst of a planetary crisis, and climate change is, of course, the most significant one, but the others are not less frightening. Loss of biodiversity, loss of arable land, loss of water, loss of everything. And the reason for that, I believe, is that precisely we are not thinking in systems. We are thinking in silos. We are looking at one problem and turning a blind eye to the other problem. And climate change is maybe the most prominent example because for decades we have seen CO2 and methane emissions as externalities. They are not in the balance sheet of companies, they are not appearing anywhere. And in one of the areas where we didn't count in what we are doing, that's certainly food systems. And a food system is way more than just a farmer producing something somewhere. If you look at farming, if you take the FAO numbers, we are roughly at 20% of the global greenhouse gas coming from farming. And we know that. But that is not the full picture because farming needs inputs, needs fertilizers, pesticides that are being produced with high carbon footprints. Products need to be transported, they need to be cooled, they need to be brought to the customer. More often than not, they are wrapped in plastic, which is a problem in itself. And if you take all of this today's food systems together, we are well above one third of the global greenhouse gas emissions. Now, at the same time, when it comes to the impacts of climate change, food systems are severely impacted. The majority of our food is still produced by rain-fed agriculture. And you can only imagine what the shift in rainfall patterns is doing to crop production. But it's not only the big events, it's not only the big storms and droughts and cyclones and floodings, but it's also the small changes that are seriously affecting our food systems. Changes in nighttime temperatures do affect the nutritional value of crops. Shorter growing seasons reduce the yields of farmers and often come to even total losses of yields. So, very clearly, we need to bring the things together. We need to look at food systems as the most affected area of human activity and the biggest contributor of human activity to climate change. So, how do we do that? Well, we need to do that by acknowledging that food systems are maybe a mirror or the biggest mirror of inequity in the world. Mind you, we have 3 billion people on the planet who cannot afford a healthy diet. They might get enough calories, but they are not getting the nutrition they need. We have stunted children, and absurdly, 80% of the world's hungry people are actually smallholder themselves. So obviously, there's something fundamentally broken about our food systems. And that is precisely why the Secretary General of the United Nations has announced for September next year to organize a summit on food systems, given their centrality for the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals. But this summit is so much more than just a moment in time in which leaders will come together in New York and discuss food systems. This summit is going to be a 1 year engagement process, and we need you in this process. We need the different communities coming together. A part of that process is that we will be going to every single member states of the United Nations to bring the spirit of multidisciplinary and multi-stakeholder conversations to each and every government of the UN membership. We need the different ministers to sit together to speak about food systems, not only the Minister of Agriculture. We need environment, we need health, we need youth, we need transport, all of them to find solutions that work for food security, that work to stop global warming, that work to build resilience for communities. In all of these discussions, we will be looking into game-changing solutions, and we hope that we can create action plans and policy changes in the countries. And the lens has to be on climate and on carbon. Project Drawdown shows how you can extract carbon from the atmosphere. But connecting it with food system means that we can extract large amounts of carbon out of the atmosphere by empowering the world poorest to be agents of change. And I think that is fundamental. We have to change our perspective, how we look at the world poorest, how we look at all these smallholder farmers that are struggling. If we were able to provide them with the knowledge, with the money, and to empower them to really become agents of change, they can improve their own food security, they can build resilience, they can create jobs and a future, particularly on a young continent such as Africa is. And at the same time, these are climate solutions that are immediately available. These effects can be shown with the next harvest season, and over 3 to 5 years, you can even bring severely degraded land back to agricultural use. And that is little known. You know, many of the deserts that we are seeing today, they are actually man-made. And as they were done by wrong agricultural methods that led to land degradation and soil erosion, it is possible to reverse this project. And it's not high-tech. It is actually labor-intensive, low-tech. And the people are there. We have the agents to change and to turn it around. We need to empower them. So in this summit process, I was speaking about the country-level dialogues, but there's also a possibility that you can yourself organize food system summit dialogues with a specific lens you are particularly interested in. And you will find all the material and the documentation and how you do that on the website summitdialogues.org, summitdialogues.org. But let me also speak about our core thinking machine of the summit. And that is 5 action tracks that come from different angles, but work closely together to really produce the systemic solutions we are looking for. One is looking into access to safe and nutritious food for everybody. The second one is looking into shifting into sustainable and healthy diets. The third one is on climate positive production. And here is the idea of drawdown and of land restoration mostly anchored. The fourth one is about livelihoods. And the fifth one is about resilience. And you can see how all of those come together. These 5 action tracks are waiting for your input. There are surveys out there, and there is a web space, foodsystems.community, foodsystems.community, where you can contribute, get into a discussion with the members of these action tracks, and help developing the systemic solutions we want to find. So we very much hope to hear from you. We very much hope that the climate community and the food community and the resilient community and the health community can come together to look at the one interdependent social and environmental crisis in which we are and find the solutions we need and engage to turn them into a reality so that the Sustainable Development Goals are more than just a dream, but they will be a reality by 2030. Thank you very much, and a great conference to all of you.